For many, many years now, as I've been reviewing while doing my job essentially, I've always enjoyed large SUVs, if only because I only get them for about a week at a time, maybe two during the holidays and stuff like that. And they're always very, very versatile and useful when you have to carry people and stuff around. But ultimately, I've thought that they were more or less overkill. I mean, how many families actually have 3 kids or more that you could not fit in a typical mid-size 2-row SUV? Fine, there's a dog, but the dog can go in the trunk, you know. But you see, recently my life has changed. And this segment of vehicle, though, I will say right now, unless something goes wrong, I will not purchase an SUV. I will always get a minivan. Okay, but the segment, mid-size 3-row SUV segment, has become, well, a lot more interesting of late. And I look through the list of available options in this segment, and there is no shortage of models available for purchase. From the Atlas, the Traverse, the Pathfinder, the Highlander, the Grand Highlander, the Grand Cherokee L, and the Durango. There are so many. But above all of them, in a number of ways, sits the Kia Telluride, the Hyundai Palisades twin. And of all of these rivals in this mid-size 3-row segment, the Palisade's biggest problem is, in fact, the Telluride. And for 2024, the Palisade has a new problem in the form of the all-new Santa Fe. I've come to this conclusion, well, it's pretty obvious. I mean, I see 8 or 9, perhaps even 10 Tellurides for one Palisade in the greater Montreal area. In fact, I have a couple of friends who have recently taken delivery of a brand new Telluride, never even considered the Palisade. Santa Fe, brand new Santa Fe. It also represents a big challenge for the Palisade because it is now, well, bigger, boxier, and it comes very, very close to where the Palisade used to sit. In fact, I'll tell you pricing information in a few moments, and you'll see that Hyundai has done something with the Palisade to kind of move it up in order to leave room for the Santa Fe. But I don't know, I'm probably completely wrong here, but I don't know that the Palisade in its actual form has much of a future left, whereas the Telluride has eternity, as far as I'm concerned. You know what I'm saying. Let me also say that the Palisade and the Telluride, twins as they are, do not have sufficient amount of differentiation, I think, which is one of the issues for the Palisade as well, because let's just be completely frank, the Telluride looks 10 times better than this. Hence why there are 10 times more Tellurides than Palisades on the road, right? Makes sense. And if you take Kia and Hyundai, what they've done with some of their products, like Ioniq 5 or even Ioniq 6 and the EV6, there's a massive differentiation, even though they share in countless components between the two. So I think something is going to happen with the Palisade in the near future. But today is 2024, and this is a 2024 model year Hyundai Palisade. And as per usual, we're going to do the walk around of this still, all right, it looks fine, large mid-size 3-row SUV. And then we're going to go for a drive. And there's one thing about the Palisade and the Telluride, for that matter, that despite it not, well, the V6, it's just so nice. Anyway, please hang around if you want to hear more of my blabber. So here we go. Look, as far as I'm concerned, the front end of the Palisade is its most weakest spot. It's a little overplayed, it's just trying too hard to be something that it's not, which is some kind of ultra premium luxury SUV. But as far as everything else is concerned, it's okay, it's fine looking. By the way, this was introduced for the 2020 model year, and it received this facelift for the 2023 model year. Okay, so very different structure for the Palisade in Canada and the US, which also makes me think that things are going to change. SE front wheel drive, which is the base model in the US, $36,650. And the top trim calligraphy North is $53,850. In Canada, the base model is now the Urban, which is what this model is, and it starts at $54,699. That's about a $5,000 jump from last year when they had an other base model. Unfortunately, I forget the trim, may have been preferred, I think. But yeah, so now your base Palisade in Canada is $55,000, give or take. The included equipment, 12.3-inch touchscreen display and instrument cluster. So I mean, anyway, the points here is that it's very well equipped: Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, 8-passenger Harman Kardon audio, heated steering wheel, first and second row seats, leatherettes, 20-inch wheels. It's well loaded. The top trim still in Canada, and by the way, all-wheel drive is standard for all our models. Top trim is the Ultimate Calligraphy for $58,299. My tester has just a few options. It's a 7-seater instead of the standard 8-seater, plus the Abyss Black color. So a grand total about $55,500. The only issue really here is that most of the SUVs, say including the CX-50 or the Atlas, or CX-50, CX-90 and the Atlas, and the Explorer, I mean, you can get for 50 and under before you start piling on options. So it kind of takes away from the value proposition you usually expect from Hyundai when you start at nearly $55,000 for their SUV. Just final lap around. I mean, this is just entirely personal. I've said this a number of times, but I'm totally over black on black. It's now become very annoying, in fact, because it's just so common. But hey, that's me. All right, so power hatch. Okay, so I've been using the third row. So you're looking at 509 liters behind the third row. There is storage under here, which is very nice. I'm not putting my tripod in there because that's where I'm going to lose it. And behind the second row, you can see here very well that this is the 7-seater configuration. So you're looking at 1,297 liters with the third row stowed. So that's actually pretty good. 509 liters though, which is decent, is still about barely more than half of what you get in a Sienna behind the third row. Just throwing it out there. Just maybe I should have got the Carnival's numbers, but I did not. The seats though, I mean, look, this is the standard model, right? So you do get the sunshades, which are fantastic. So many cup holders and bins. I love the way everything is laid out. And you got your HVAC and heated seat controls in the back. Obviously the seats recline, fold, slide, and all of that business, so they're actually decently comfortable. In fact, you can see that. And accessing the third row is not that hard, and I've sat back there, and it is tolerable plus, let's put it that way. Okay, so up front, same thing, these standard seats. So you got that power operated lower seat cushion, lumbar support, which is very generous, in fact. This is what sells the Hyundai and the Kias. It's the design and the quality impression that you get when you first come into contact with this SUV, or any of their products for that matter. I mean, okay, so it's not a full flat screen, but I kind of like this, where it's the IP is recessed and the touchscreen display pops out. I mean, it's a really nice place to be. Honestly, I mean, storage everywhere. I really have to hand it to them for that. This is a huge bin. Let's just start it up right now. So there's a display, which is configurable with the drive modes, and you can change the menus. I just want to show you, is it that one? Yes, that's the one. So just so you take note of that. Steering wheel has a very nice grip. I love the kind of odd fourth spoke here, or third spoke, 1, 2, 3, 4, but it's a single, so it's a third. I don't know. That's kind of nice. So here's the touchscreen display. What I do like is that you have both the on-screen menus and you have a full series of hard buttons. It's such the perfect mix, at least today, when it comes to just accessing what you want to access and when you want to access this. Push start button, I'll tell you right now, push start. The transmission buttons. Occasionally, it's slowish to react. Obviously, it's not going to be the case now, but this is your multiple drive modes. So I'm in comfort. I've been playing with Eco a little bit and Sport. I haven't used Smart much because in the past I've noticed that Smart isn't really smart. And you know, if you want to go off-roading, but let's just be completely honest. Nobody in a Palisade will ever go in the sand or mud, maybe snow. But you know, other than the drive, in the gravel drive to get to the cottage, no. So yeah, cooled seats, heated. It's really nice. I mean, everything is actually really good in here. The layout of the dashboard, the upper portion is very nice. It's clear. The screen sits just below the level. Okay, well, that's the way I was holding the phone. You know, so forward visibility is actually quite good too. You have a nice little decent opening there. And this is truly a nice place to be. Memory seating too. I don't know what else to tell you. This all so far is everything that sells these SUVs. Speaking of the Kia and the Hyundai. And then the drive. Let's go. It won't do it, obviously, when I'm reviewing the vehicle. It happens mostly, in fact, which is what I was trying to show you, when shifting. When you're going, say, from in a three-point turn and you're back, reverse forward, sometimes it takes a solid second and a half before reverse or drive engages. It's a weird, completely unacceptable thing as far as I'm concerned. But otherwise, I mean, I could just finish up on the 8-speed automatic transmission. It's been otherwise flawless, just very, very nice. It glides from gear to gear. I haven't been driving this stupid, fuel consumption number being one of the things that's turning me off. 3.8 liter V6. Most automakers, many automakers have moved on to a 4-cylinder engine, turbocharged. Volkswagen, Subaru being one of the first ones with the Ascent, and a number of other automakers, including Toyota and with the Highlander and the Grand Highlander. The thing with the V6, as you get in the Pilot, it's just so buttery, creamy smooth, and throttle response is superb. And for the 2 or 3 times I did put the hammer down, this 3.8, I'd forgotten about it, but it actually sounds decent. It sounds like it really wants to. It puts out 291 horsepower and 262 pound-feet of torque at over 5,000 RPM. So you got to keep your foot in it to get things moving. But once you do get moving, it actually, it just seems right. It just feels right in this SUV as it is. But, you know, Hyundai says that the estimated fuel consumption number is a little over 11, like 11.1 liters per 100 kilometers in mixed driving. I'm averaging 13.5, and I've done a couple hundred kilometers already. More than, well over half has been on the highway. So it's, I don't know. The real numbers in winter, I mean, you're going to be creeping well over 14, my guess. And if we just focus on, say, now, you know, summer, Highlander hybrid or a Sienna hybrid will cut your fuel consumption number in half. Literally in half. I've done it, and I've averaged 6.7 to 6.8 liters per 100 kilometers. So 13.5, 6.7, it's about half. Usually I'm no good at math, but this time I'm really, really sure. The Palisade also has a self-leveling rear suspension. It's a multi-link in the rear and McPherson up front. And for the most part, with the 20-inch wheels, the ride quality is really, really nice. Steering is light. I mean, I didn't even notice if in Sport it changes. Oh yeah, it does. It gets a little bit heavier. I've been using Sport only on the highway because there's no sense in driving in Sport, one of these with, you know, 5 other people on board. In the city, it's fine. Brakes feel fine. I mean, there's nothing dynamic about the drive in this thing. I mean, that essentially sums it all up. But what I get from driving this, and it's something that I felt many times in Hyundai and Kia products, is there's a lack of continuity in all the efforts that are put into this and put into the outside and all the equipment, and that sense of durability or long lastingness. I'm overly sensitive. It's my job. I complain a lot. It's one of the things I love doing the most. I get the sense that there's a gap between what you're feeling and what's actually going to happen 3 years down the road. And it's always bothered me, and every time I don't know. How can I put this? This is, and there's a 4-year-old Hyundai Tucson in my immediate, circle, and it's, I don't know. Sure, maybe maintenance. My point is that this is a good SUV, but for the long run, maybe stick with a Pilot, though it's stupid expensive, or a Highlander. The 2.4 turbo should hold out better than the V6 and the Tundra and Sequoia. The Ascent is fine. The Mazda CX-90, I'm not a big fan, though I will drive it again because I need to, or I want to, I should say. Pathfinder. Yeah, so to sum up this really boring and drawn out end, Highlander's still the best bet as far as I'm concerned. Atlas, not so much. So if you're going to get between the two Korean twins, get the Telluride because it looks really good. Thank you.